Alright guys, so this is continuing from yesterday to make sure that we have our completing the square down. What you're going to do today is there's a worksheet on Google Classroom. I just want you to work out that worksheet on a separate piece of paper or in your notebook. I don't care which. And then we're going to go over and turn that in, so you might want to put it on a separate piece of paper. We're also going to finish our notes so that we can make sure we can work out the problems completely. This one was solving each equation by completing the square around your answer to the nearest hundredth. So remember, the first thing we need to do is we need to turn this part on the left into a perfect square. Alright, so we have x squared minus 5x plus 5 divided by 2 squared. Because remember, it's b divided by, ooh, that should be a negative. I got excited. B divided by 2 squared equals negative 1 plus b divided by 2 squared. Alright, from here we have x squared minus 5x plus 6.25 equals negative 1 plus 6.25. And the 6.25 came from negative 5 divided by 2, and then we squared it. Now we're going to convert it to our factored form. And we know what that is because we did it up here where we just converted it like this. So we just take what we got here, which was negative 2.5, and we write x minus 2.5 squared equals 5.25. Yesterday we discussed again how to get rid of the squared. You take the square root on both sides, and that gives you x minus 2.5 equals plus or minus 2.3. And you're going to have plus or minus every time. And now we need to solve it. So we say x minus 2.5 equals 2.3, and x minus 2.5 equals negative 2.3. We'll add 2.5 to both sides, so this gives us 4.8. Making sure I'm not going crazy, and that gives us 0.2. So remember, to do this, we're trying to find the solutions of where x crosses the x-axis, or where the graph crosses the x-axis. And we usually have two solutions. Sometimes we have one, sometimes we have none. But for these, since we can complete the square, we're going to have two. So now the last foldable that I want to, or the last flap that I want to do is solve a quadratic equation in standard form. So standard form is where it is x squared plus bx plus c. And the first thing we need to do is we need to actually complete the square by getting this term and this term by itself. So we're going to add 21 to both sides. And that's going to give us x squared minus 4x equals 21. And now it looks just like what we did up here, so we're going to complete the square. We're going to do x squared minus 4x plus negative 4 divided by 2 squared equals 21 plus negative 4 divided by 2 squared. Now negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. Negative 2 squared is positive 4. Okay? Oh, goodness. All right, so then, okay, so we're at this part where we've completed the square by doing the opposite of b divided by 2 squared, and we did that on both sides. And remember, we had to get 21 by itself. All right, so now we're going to do the same thing we did here, where we break it down into our factored form. we just take what's inside. So that's x minus 2 squared equals 25. And the 25 came from the 21 plus 4. And now I'm going to take the square root on both sides. And I get x minus 2 equals plus or minus 25. Ooh, plus or minus 5. Got excited again. Now the reason it's 5 is because the square root of 25 is 5. And now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to write x minus 2 equals positive 5 and x minus 2 equals negative 5. So then from there we add 2 and we get x equals 7 and x equals negative 3. If you need to stop the video, stop it. We're just doing this so we can go through our notes, finish them, and it'll help you work on that worksheet. Tomorrow we're going to do a fun activity. Now on 3b, we're going to subtract 5 from both sides, so we get x squared minus 8x equals negative 5. And now we're going to complete the square on the left. So we get x squared minus 8x plus negative 8 divided by 2 squared equals negative 5 plus negative 8 divided by 2 squared. Now remember, what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So then that gives us x squared minus 8x. Negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. Negative 4 squared is 16. Now we're going to convert this to our factored form, just like we did over here. And that's going to give us x minus what's inside here, 4 squared, equals negative 5 plus 16 is 11. Take the square root of both sides. And the square root of 11 is 3.3. Now we're going to break it down into x minus 3.32. Sorry, because it says hundredth right here, round to the hundredth. So x minus 4 equals 3.32. X minus 4 equals negative 3.32. Add 4 to both sides. Alright, watch this video, complete the worksheet on Google Classroom, write it on a separate piece of paper and work it out. Sorry that I didn't get to make copies for you guys. I'll see you tomorrow.